and welcome to the 10th episode of the Weekly Football Talk. I am once again your host, Lee Lublin, and apologies for no video last week. I actually had a video recorded and finished, but it actually needed a fair bit of editing, and unfortunately just my schedule last week ended up being very hectic and time kind of just flew, and by the time I really had time to edit the video, it kind of just felt a little bit too late. So we are back this week, and we're going to be talking about another recap. It's been a couple weeks since that one of those, and today we'll be looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Washington football team. Now, both teams were kind of in opposite positions. Tampa Bay was coming off their bye at 6-2, but had just suffered a not great loss to New Orleans, whereas Washington was coming also off their bye, but instead they were coming off at 2-6, and I believe have not won a game in over a month. So both teams were kind of hoping to start the second half of the season on a high note, and fortunately for the football team, they were able to do that. They ended up getting a 29-19 victory, and they did it off the back of mainly a first quarter just complete destruction. The score was only 13-0 at the end of the first quarter, but if you look a lot closer, Washington could have very easily put up 21 points, and that's a major credit to Tampa's defense for two of those first three drives, pretty much putting the kibosh on anything major. But unfortunately, they still did allow points, and that was because of Tampa's offense mainly. In the first quarter, they had, I believe it was only the third time in Tom Brady's career he threw 2 interceptions in the first quarter. Now, I will say, I do think the first one, I'm very shocked that was not called a fumble, because that was almost all on the receiver. Brady threw it to him, the guy caught it, and then as he was turning around, it just slipped out of his hands and right up into a defender's arms. And Washington was able to get, I believe, a field goal from that one. And then their second drive, Brady threw another interception, and it was very ugly. All Brady, miscommunication, and Washington was able to score a touchdown off of that. And they were up 13-0, and that lead never really went away. I believe Tampa might have cut it to 10 at one point, maybe. No, by the end of the game, Tampa had cut it to 4. Let me not lie. They had cut it to 4 with 10 minutes left in the game, but Washington's offense was able to articulate a 10-minute drive in the fourth quarter. They pretty much ate the entire fourth quarter and were able to end it with a touchdown, which left the score obviously at 29-19. So overall, it was a very ugly looking game for the Bucs. A lot of turnovers. Their offense only, I would argue, had one good drive, maybe 2. But overall, it was an ugly game for the Bucs, who were kind of hoping to start the second season off on the right foot after ending the first half of the season on not the best foot. Good news for the Bucs, though. Both Atlanta and New Orleans lost as well, meaning that they're still about I believe a half game ahead of the division, if not a full game again. And the only team that won from the South was Carolina, who has kind of dug themselves into a slight hole. But a lot of excitement around them now with Cam Newton returning to the team, and it'll be interesting to see if he's able to take the starting job back from PJ Walker, or if he'll just be more of maybe a Taysom Hill utility guy, because that's what he kind of was for them this week, and it kind of worked. So be interesting to see, like I said, if he gets full-time starter reigns, or if he is just PJ Walker's Kind of actually probably a better comparison would be what Lamar Jackson did with Joe Flacco his rookie year until he started. But yeah, and then for Washington, this gets them to 3-6. I still don't really see them doing much at this point. I think Dallas has kind of put such a huge lead on their division that they would really have to choke the second half of the year away. And even if Dallas, I don't know, we'll just say they lost all but like 1 or 2 of their remaining games, I still think they would maybe win that division. I don't think the Eagles football team or Giants have enough in them to win enough games to even catch the Cowboys at this point. So still, win's a win. I'm very happy for Taylor Heineke because he had been struggling a lot the last month. So this is, at this point, Ryan Fitzpatrick is out. So this is a prove-it season for Heineke. Probably not as much for the football team. I think the football team is going to probably draft a quarterback this year if they can, but more to prove himself to other teams to say, hey, if you need a stopgap or if you want a really good backup, I'm here, call me. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Next week is actually Thanksgiving. So I might end up actually doing something more for the Thanksgiving games, because I usually always end up watching at least one of those. And then second half of the season. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and I will maybe see you guys next week, definitely in 2 weeks. Peace.